What's up, guys? So today we have a 2018 CBR1000rr on the dyno. Right now it is 100% stock from the factory. It's got 3,400 miles on it, so barely broken in. We have the Yoshimura Alpha T slip-on system, and then we're also going to modify the stock header and able to pull a little bit more power out of this thing. And then what we're going to end up doing is doing a full ECU flash and dyno tune on. So you'll get to see the many stages that we go through, and you'll also, when you CBR owners, you'll also get to see what a stock bike puts down with very low mileage, along with the slip-on and a modified, again, stock header with the ECU flash and dyno tune. So again, you'll get those mini stages like we always do. You get a very in-depth view as to what we're doing and what kind of power and torque you're going to make through these processes. We're going to warm up the bike real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and do some baseline runs and take it off the dyno and start doing the install process. So we made a consistent 142 wheel horsepower and 69 foot-pounds of torque. We got a pretty lean mixture from about, for all the way from 5,000 RPM all the way up to about 8,000 RPM. We got a very lean mixture. And then the air fuel actually enriches up. It's pretty close from 9,000 on. But again, this is with the stock system. So we're going to re-baseline it once we do all the modifications and get a gauge as to what it's doing once we install the slip-on and everything, and then we'll go from there. We are pretty much wrapping up the slip-on system, and we just got done modifying the header. Lewis is doing the final little touches now. We just got to wipe it down, clean it up, and then we're going to crank it up and do some sound test, if you will. See if the owner likes it. Be the ultimate test. We'll see here in a minute. It's got a nice throaty sound to it. So the stuff that's spitting out of the exhaust is still some of the, we sprayed it down with some WD-40, and we also sprayed, or we also still have some residual material, if you will, that got left over in the header. We cleared out as much as possible, but regardless, like as you're driving it and as we're breaking it in, and when we're on the dyno, we're gonna see a little bit more coming out. That's why you kind of see some little puffs of smoke, if you will. It's just the residual coming from some of the header pipe and WD-40. We use that to wipe down this pipe. So that's just to be expected. But sounds great. We're really excited to get it up on the dyno and start ripping it. We finally got the Yoshimura slip-on on. We modified the header. We're getting ready to re-baseline the bike now with all the modifications done. We're expecting a good little jump in power, even though we haven't flashed ECU yet, but the dyno doesn't lie. It's going to tell us exactly what we're doing right now. Again, if you guys do these same steps, you'll be able to see exactly what your bike will do, air fuel wise, and also power and torque wise. So here we go. So the low end all the way through the mid-range, kind of up into the higher RPM here, up until about 10,300 RPM, we actually had really good gains already of about 8 wheel, about 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 wheel here, 8 to 9 wheel horsepower gains, and about 5 foot-pounds of torque, roughly 5 foot-pounds of torque. But look what happens up top here at the higher RPM. We actually lost horsepower. I wasn't expecting this. At high horsepower, we actually lost about 9 horsepower, or I'm sorry, up at high RPM, we lost about 9 horsepower, but air fuel is really similar. If we look here, air fuel basically mimics what it did prior on the stock setup. So very similar results, very lean from 4,000 all the way up to 7,000. That's a, I mean, even we could even argue all the way up to about 7,500 RPM. It's a very lean mixture. And then it kind of gets close where it needs to be, up around, you know, 8,500 or so, 8,400. And then at 10,000 RPM and on, it's basically off money. But really interesting. I definitely wasn't expecting these results, but you know, again, here's where the fun happens. This is where we actually get to flash and tune it. So we get to pull this whole power band up even further now. So it'll be really interesting. Here are the peak numbers. Completely stock. It was 142 wheel horsepower and 69 foot-pounds of torque. And with the Yoshi slip-on and the modified header, we pulled 144 wheel horsepower out and 74 foot-pound of torque. So really impressive. Again, crazy about this top end. I definitely was not expecting that, but this is what we're gonna fix anyway, so I'm not really stressing it too much. So yeah, we're gonna start the ECU flashing process now. So we finally got the ECU flash done. We're gonna see what this is. So now this is just like a bench flash or a mail-in flash. That's usually what I start with, is I just start with something that I would put on a bike that if you guys were to mail me the ECU or something like that, that's the mapping that I'm starting with currently on this bike. So we're gonna get an idea as to what it likes, what it doesn't like. And then as we go through the map and as we go through this, this base map rather, as we go through it, we're gonna start looking at all the little cells and all the parameters and everything that we've modified, and we're gonna make sure that everything is right on par with what it needs to be with partial throttle, you know, heavy acceleration and full throttle. So we already got the bike re-warmed up. So we're gonna start it back up and see what she does real quick. So we haven't labeled the graph yet, but you guys can get the idea. We have a pretty streamlined run. I mean, almost identical right now. As far as, yeah, right now. We have a very similar pull compared to when we just did the modified header and the slip-on. We do have some power gains here from 8K, well, pretty much all the way to redline, but look at the jump here. At this higher RPM, you can see we have a pretty damn big spread now. So again, the baseline, a completely stock baseline, we'll just take this point here at, we'll just take 12K. Completely stock baseline, we're at 142 wheel. And then with the modified header and the slip-on, we went down to 136. But now we're all the way up to basically 162 wheels. So, I mean, we picked up a good, what, 25 wheel from the modified setup and slip-on compared to the flash, and a good 19 wheel setup. Again, that's 19 wheel horsepower from stock to modified setup to flash. And again, so just to reiterate, he does have a stock airbox, a stock air filter, stock chain and sprocket. All that he has done is the slip-on exhaust system, and then we modified the header. But this is a pretty solid power band already. And again, this is just a bench flash. So we have some critiquing to do. The air fuel did run a little lean here. We are running lean all throughout the mid-range. Really good here, around 7 to 8K. But we are running a little lean here, so we're gonna fatten it up, and we're gonna fix this air fuel. We also adjusted some other odds and ends in there. We should see some power gains. We should see still some more power gains. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up around the mid 160s to high 160s at the end of this tune at this point, given this baseline now. So. But anyway, guys, we're gonna get to work, and we'll keep you updated once we get this thing all wrapped up. So we finally got the CBR1000 all wrapped up here, and we just wanted to go over some final numbers with you guys. So we'll recap here. So the green line is 100% stock. This is stock muffler, stock header, stock air filter, stock airbox, stock chain and sprocket, stock. We did a whopping 142 with 69 foot-pounds of torque. We then modified the header, did the Yoshi slip-on, and re-baselined it. We pulled out 144 with almost 74 foot-pounds of torque. But look at this mid-range. We'll look at the mid-range again on the blue one. We picked up a solid 8 to 9 wheel gain on the wheel horsepower, and then about 4 to 5 foot-pounds of torque. Really impressive. But if you notice again, we actually lost power up here at the higher RPM range without the flash. So this was just the stock pull again. Here, so let's actually pull this one off. So this is what we'll do. We'll compare how the customer came in versus how the customer left. The green line is how it came in, and the red line is doing the modifications and the ECU flash and dyno tune. Here, we'll target 12,000 RPM. So he came in making 142, leaving making 167 wheels. So we gained 25 wheel horsepower, which is insanely impressive on a CBR, especially with such little modifications. And then here, we'll look at the air fuel. I know everyone always wants to pull this up and pick at it. So 6K, we were at 14.8. Now we are at 13.6, which is an acceptable range. I don't mind at the lower RPMs. I don't mind it being a little bit leaner. Typically, I like to shoot for about 13.2 AFR air fuel ratios, but again, on the lower RPM, I don't mind it being a little leaner. It's not a big deal. We don't have a ton of airflow, so it works out pretty good. And then along here, as you can see, we fattened it up 13.2, 13.3, we're at 13.2, and then as we get up to about the 12K range, we drop it down to 13 flat and 12.9 up at red line. So all in all, I'm very, very, very pleased with these results. We did do another one that was slightly newer, and this was a few months ago now, and where we modified his airbox and we did a Sprint POA air filter, and that one actually made about 171, but that was really the only difference. We still did a decat. We used the M4 slip-on from memory serves, but again, very similar numbers. We just had a little bit more power, about 4 or 5 wheel more from modifying the airbox and doing that Sprint filter paired with the ECU flash and dyno tuning. So again, very good numbers. I know these aren't as high as like the Suzuki's or the Cowies or something like that, but again, these are really mid-range bikes. They're super, super light from the factory. I don't know the exact weight, but you can literally feel how light that bike is just by loading it and unloading it. It's a super, super light bike. But all in all, I'm very happy with these numbers. Again, we can always bump them up by doing chain and sprockets and other modifications. This particular client, again, he only wanted to do a few things and enjoy it as a street bike, and that's it. He kind of wanted a more maintenance-free style bike, not necessarily a race bike. So that was the target focus on his bike today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Tell us what you think of the numbers. Tell us what you think we can get out of these bikes, what you think we should get out. Tell us if you have a CBR. Let us know what numbers you're seeing out of your bike. We're curious. Let's just have an open discussion. Let us know if you want your bike to be featured on our YouTube channel. Call the shop at 727-256-0001 and ask for us and see if we can get your bike featured. We have quite a few bikes in the shop right now that are getting ready to go through and be featured. So give us a call, let us know. And yeah, thanks again. We appreciate you guys. If it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And hope you guys have a good one. Be safe. We'll see you on another episode.